Welcome to Henry Talks Tottenham. And you know what? I wish I was talking about a game that wasn't an absolute battering. Vicario, a guy that I gave absolute pelters to at the weekend, who this season has deserved a lot of the criticism he's had. Today, saved our skin. He was that good, he could have saved the PDF on a calculator. But Tottenham going forward were like Homer Simpson's hairline. Absolutely non-existent apart from two straggly bits of hair. That was absolutely pathetic. We were battered. We were outplayed on every single metric. Shots on target, XG, possession. We were missing players today. Don't get me wrong. Van de Ven, for me, is our most important player. I'm saying it now. Van de Ven was very, sound like Jonathan Ross, was very, 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 very good. But that was just, in my opinion, just simply not good enough. If you said to me at the beginning of the game, would I have taken a draw? Yeah, I would have bit your arm off because I wasn't absolutely confident about this game. However, in the manner we got the draw was just absolutely pathetic. Make sure you go down and drop a like on the video if you haven't already. Make sure you have subscribed to the channel. The road to 10K is well and truly on. We're only about 300 subs away from 3K. So if you haven't already, go down, drop a like, hit that subscribe button. And yeah, for me, I'm not going to lie. Like a lot of the players today, other than Archie Gray, I thought had his best game in a Spurs shirt. I thought he was very, 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 very good. Made some good runs, lots of challenges. Van de Ven, of course, was fantastic. This wasn't actually the lineup. It was more Gray at left back and Van de Ven at centre back. We'll grab it off FootMod because I don't know why Google decided to do that quite a lot of the time. That was both teams. Some familiar faces there. Sasulu, of course, ex-Southampton. Kera, ex-West Ham. Balogun, ex-Arsenal. Fatty, ex-Brighton and Barcelona. But for us today, I mean, how have we got a strike force of Richarlison, Tell, Solanke's nowhere to be seen, and Kolo Muani? We went from literally having one striker at Harry Kane and a load of dross to a load of dross. I mean, Porro and Gray, good tonight. Benton Core, was good. When Sarr come on, wasn't great today. Bergvall gave the ball away time and time again. Van de Ven and Danso didn't really do a huge amount wrong. Vicario was by far the best player on the pitch by a country mile. We just concede so many shots and we lack a player. Well, we lack about 4 players that can really get on the ball and dictate things. It was Thomas Frank will be coming away from there thinking it was a strategic stalemate. Monaco were on the front foot, 21 attempts to our 10, 9 shots on targets, 9 shot on target for Monaco compared to our 4. Balogun had something like 4 shots on target. When you look at the match stats, we're outplayed on every single metric, 2.45 XG compared to 0.87, 23 shots, 8 on target compared to 2, 5 big chances created, 5 big chances missed. That is a massive, massive let-off. And our away form, in fact, our recent form, other than the Leeds game, Wolves was absolutely pathetic. We were outplayed, we were outfought, but we got a draw. At Brighton, we deserved to win, but didn't get the right result. We got a draw. Tonight, again, absolutely outplayed. The one thing I will give this group of players and give Thomas Frank is we are resilient and we know how to grind out a draw. But my word, man, how many times this season, have we been peppered by teams? Brighton had chances. Bodo Glimt had a lot of chances. Bodo Glimt had 13 shots compared to our 7. Our defense at the moment seems to be the best position or area of the pitch we're actually strong at. Clean sheets against Doncaster, West Ham, Villarreal, Bournemouth, City, Monaco, Burnley. But for me, we have to do more than that. We've got, a tough trip against Everton, who I think will be favourites going into that game coming up. We're 6th in the Premier League. We're, only 1 win in our last 4 games. In the Champions League table, we've dropped to 15th. How we didn't beat Bodo Glimt. It's We have got winnable games coming up in the Champions League with Copenhagen and Slavia Prague. But we've also got to play Dortmund and PSG. We have to, as a bare minimum, win against Copenhagen and against Slavia Prague. Anything else is categorically not acceptable, considering Slavia Prague and Copenhagen are in 28th and 32nd, and both have not won a game yet. But that being said, we've only conceded 2, but we just lack a killing threat. Look at the amount of teams that have scored more goals than us. PSV have scored 8. We've only scored 3 goals in the Champions League. Sporting, Karabag have scored more goals than us in the Champions League. We don't have a forward that can really get on the ball other than Kudus and beat a man and create things. Kolo Muani's barely played. Brennan Johnson, other than a back post tapping, doesn't really add much. Odegaard needs to bulk up. He's got technical ability, but he's not really showing it. Dominic Solanke, no one's seen him in weeks, in months, in fact. Has he even played a game this season? I'm not so sure. There's a lot of things that we have to improve on this season if we want to, go and really compete. For me, I'm looking around at a lot of these players, and we need major recruitment, reinforcements, and our improvement in the recruitment area has to improve. We've got a lot of good technical players like Saar, like Bergvall, but they just seem to give the ball away all the time. I look at the midfield today. Paulinho and Bentancur is pretty much going to be the double pivot we play every single game. Golovkin, the Russian central midfielder, or Golovkin, come on, we couldn't live with him. We couldn't live with Minamino, the ex-Liverpool winger. It's a Monaco team that aren't exactly in the best of form, that aren't exactly stacked with quality. Ansu Fati's a profound Barcelona reject. Salisu, ex-Southampton. Balogun, it's a Monaco team that aren't good at all. Let's just be real with it. They're okay, but they're not going to set the world alight. And they absolutely destroyed us. Destroyed us. On every single metric. They by far were the better team. Passing accuracy, shots on target. But at the end of the day, we have come out of a draw. And if you said at the beginning of the game, would I have taken a draw? I would have. But in the manner in which we played, yeah. You look at the recent games we've had, drew against Wolves, drew against Bodo, drew against Brighton, drew against Monaco, lost against Villa, beat Doncaster. Our last 7 games, we've only won 1. We're not, other than Leeds. We won 2 of our last 7. And our away form has been much better than our home form this season. The 2 defeats we have had this season have both been at home against Villa and Bournemouth. We have got an away trip in which we are currently 6 games unbeaten. And then we got a very tough game against Newcastle midweek. And then Chelsea, Copenhagen, Man United, Arsenal, and PSG. So I'll be honest, we really are going to find out what Tottenham are made of out of these next 7 games. Because the only one I feel really confident in winning is Copenhagen. That is the only game for me. I feel Tottenham have all the quality to go out there and win. Arsenal, we're not favourites. PSG, we're not favourites. Chelsea, we're not favourites. Newcastle, we're not favourites. Everton, we're not favourites. Man United, we will be favourites. But by then, they might have picked up a bit of form. They've just beat Liverpool. They've just won 2 games in a row. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sitting here thinking we have to improve. Categorically, we can't keep playing like we are. It's absolutely, I'll be honest, it's piss poor. Some of the performances we've had. Outplayed against Monaco, outplayed against Wolves, outplayed against Bodo Glimt. Bodo Glimt, the same team that we beat in the Europa League last year in the semi-finals. 13 shots against 7. 4 on target against 2. They missed a penalty in this game as well. We have to fix up. There were some good performances today from Archie Gray and Van der Ven. I thought as well, Paulinho was very, very good. But boy, if we're going to play like that against Everton, an Everton team that I believe are unbeaten at home, beat Palace, drew with West Ham, drew with Villa, beat Brighton, and also beat Mansfield in the League Cup. So it's an Everton team that will have Jack Grealish back and will fancy their chances. And if you even look at the win probability on Google, we only have a 32% chance of winning this game, whereas Everton have 40%. If the results go against us and teams around us win, we could be as low as 12th. That is a scary, scary thought. to be 12th. Looking at the games we've got coming up with Arsenal, with Chelsea, with Newcastle in the league and the cup, PSG. Yeah. I don't know about you guys. Drop a like, hit that subscribe button, but I'm not feeling confident. I'll see you soon. I'm out.